All right, 6 o'clock, we're going to get started. Welcome everyone to the kickoff of the spring 2012 general election. I'm really excited for a fun election cycle. We have 5 presidential tickets. Before I start, want to highlight 2 election committee members that are here today. First, we have Michelle Shamali, who is also the SGA press secretary, and Natalie Williams, who is an elections committee member. Elections committee is basically the oversight body for elections. The product's majority made up of general non-SGA affiliated students, and they help set the election protocol and oversee all the election documents to make sure everything's running fairly. We do have a website. It is https://vote.cmish.edu. It's very important that you use the HTTPS or it won't work. There you can find all of our election documents. That includes our election schedule, which can be found on our vote.cmish.edu, and it's also on our Blackboard and org sync. And I highly encourage you guys to look at the schedule. We have one debate on there, and we also are scheduling another debate because we have so many tickets. So I will go ahead and get started. Each ticket is going to come up, and they're going to have 3 minutes to speak, and then we're going to have 2 minutes for questions. I can facilitate the questions, or the ticket can, whichever you guys prefer. So I'm going to go ahead and get the first ticket up.
Yeah, we get to cross through the line you want.
Doesn't really matter.
Awesome.
It is.
Should I look at for time?
Upbeat time.
Okay. That sounds good. All right. Hello, everybody. We're going to kind of go a little bit of an unorthodox manner. We're going to start out with a campaign platform. However, we feel that there's enough time for that at a later date. Basically, we'll start off with a basic introduction. My name is Killian Richardson. This has been, I guess, off and on my 4th year in SGA. I started off as a freshman senator, and then I moved to Senate leader my sophomore year, and then treasurer, and then life happened, and it took me down a few other paths that made me have to actually leave the office once or twice. More twice. Either way, though. Still, I'm now back involved in SGA as the membership officer. SGA has been a really interesting organization that I feel can be incredibly student-centered and student-focused, should it have the right kind of leadership to take us there. So that's at least one of the main points that I really want to lead it down if my ticket should be elected, is making sure that we go from resume building back to student service.
Shane? For those of you that don't know me, my name is Shane McGough. I actually come from an outside expertise on SGA. My field comes from residence life and working with RSOs and Greek life. I served as a Hall Council president until I was recently hired as an RA in Merrill Hall. I served a year and a half in RHA, in which capacity really focusing on how to improve the lives of residents in the residence halls. So I take that expertise, and what I want to do to this ticket, and hopefully for SGA, is move it, as Killian hit on, from more of your resume building to a student organization. Specifically, all students on campus, not just those who are in RSOs, because hall councils are RSOs as well. And I think that those in the residence halls need as much representation in SGA and have as much impact on SGA that every other student does.
Shane and I are pretty hard line on that exact thing that he kind of said. We believe that, especially besides taking the organization and making it more student focused, that instead of kind of cutting an arm of the organization, we can definitely use both. We can utilize the House in a way that would be more perfect, that could create a better governing structure if we just kind of mobilize them and give them a reason to want to participate, rather than trying to force them into something that they may not really be there to do. So that kind of makes the umbrella of what we're going to do. Like we said, there'll be other times where we'll hit on the platform that we are running on, but as of now, we would like to just kind of open it up to questions from anybody out there. Crickets? That's it.
Like you said, how do you plan on mobilizing the House to make it more effective, to be more about student organization, less about resume building?
Fantastic question. The best way I feel to mobilize the House would be by encouraging a form of coalition building, for sure. When you can hear, I know in Greek life, for example, there's 2 groups that were putting on chili dinners. Finally, this year, both those groups that do a fundraiser for chili dinners came together and did a communal one, taking all that money and then donating it to their national philanthropy. The House could have done that itself, simply by the amount of announcements that come up and the amount of redundancy in some of those announcements. They could easily work together if they're given more opportunities to do that. Where I see the committees as being good for us, we need to also engage them more actively, maybe standing up there and taking on an approach of what do you guys want to see out of this chamber, not what does SGA want to see out of you.
And as for me, it's building a grassroots campaign to kind of get students more involved. I come also from a political background, and any great movement, whether it be student-led, whether it be on a national basis, is grassroots. We need to re-engage the students and get them focused on SGA again.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans for sustainability?
Yes, that's actually one of our campaign points. We believe that this is obviously a large university, and a university requires energy in order to work. Engaging CMU to make sure that it stands by a commitment to sustainable energy is incredibly prominent with us. And another thing that we also want to do, although this isn't really sustainability on campus, is also still push for an initiative created by a former student services chair a while back, Zach, when he wanted to get off-campus recycling. We thought that that was an amazing thing. Sadly, it ran into a lot of roadblocks, but if we can reach out to the city and we can reach out to other individuals who are prominent in the community who also own the large apartment structures, we're going to try as hard as we can to definitely bring sustainability in the form of recycling and sustainability commitment here at the university.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Whatever. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Connor Gallagher. I'm a senior from Warren, Michigan. If you guys know where that is, in the Metro Detroit area. I have my main background in Greek life, as well as many other things out here on campus. I was actively involved in leadership photography. I was actively involved in the orientation process. And but in Greek life, in particular, I was the president, vice president, associate member counselor, and alumni secretary for Delta Chi. And
my name is Andrew Clark. I'm also involved with Greek life. I am a junior from Carleton, Michigan, also around Metro Detroit area. Through my time with Greek life, I've been actively involved in my fraternity. I'm currently right now vice president. I've also been a new member educator and philanthropy chairman in the past. I am also a part of the Greek 101 training program that Greek life has put on, as well as Greek Alpha. So I have plenty of facilitation experience, and I am on my second year with Leadership Safari.
pretty much what we want to hit on today is how we want to bring SGA back to a group where we work for the students. And this whole unicameral and bicameral debate has been pretty edgy lately. And I love it though, because that means that the students are using the thing that we were trying to take away from them, but that means that the students are raising up and using that voice that they are so scared of losing. So if they raise up and use this voice collectively in the future, the whole problem with not having enough people, not having enough horses, not having enough people stretched through the Senate wouldn't be a problem. Along those lines, to get people more involved in SGA, we're running a platform where if we make it more a reason for the students to come to us, make it more, then we don't have to worry about the lack of participation and whatnot, and at the same time, we don't have to alienate the students that were scared that they would lose their voice in the Senate. Pretty much along the same lines, we're going to have a lot more to talk about in the future, but we really just wanted to hit on that point, and we'll open up for questions.
What concrete plans do you have to sort of get other people involved in SGA so we aren't worried about having ineffective people in the House or in the Senate?
My plan is pretty much just to open it up then. Like, instead of making it mandatory where people have to go and you have all that dead weight there and you have that things and you have those problems where there's the 80-20 rule. Instead of forcing them to go, ask them to go, and then whoever wants to will be the people that are doing the work. And of course, at the same time, it's all grassroots, so it'd be what we program to attract people to get hit.
Back in about October, we passed legislation through the House and the Senate that said that House members were not required to go to the House in order to receive SBAC funding. So what would you do to encourage students to participate in the House since that funding is no longer required with attendance?
No longer required? There's multiple things you could do to increase membership at meeting or increase drive. Ultimately, it just comes down to, like the previous ticket said, the grassroots movement and just really getting people wanting to be there. It'd be more like getting people to want to participate in a group that's changing the campus slowly. It just comes down to us selling our product, which is SGA, which can be a very powerful thing if used correctly.
I pretty much had the same question. Though I'm not hearing, like, you're saying a grassroots movement, but can you not get any more specific than that?
I mean, we'd get out there and help and get people to SGA. I mean,
Okay.
thank you.
Hi, I'm Kevin Richmond. Some things I do, I'm in Greek life, I'm in Phi Kappa Tau, I'm a SAPA. I am currently an RA, I volunteer for Lunch Buddies, I'm a site leader for Alternative Breaks, among other things.
I'm Zach Cook. I am running with Kevin. I am also an RA in Kalkantau. I'm also an active member in RHA and on the club running team. This is where my background comes in. I was involved with Leadership Sorry my freshman year as well.
And I guess why I list off those involvements, it's really important to me to be, like, the SGA president has to be someone that represents campus. And I think the best way to represent campus is to be involved on campus, not in any, like, one part specifically, like, completely diverse. I have a lot of involvements with the Volunteer Center, but I'm also involved with Greek life. I'm also involved in Res Life. I kind of mix everything up a little bit so I can make my connections wide and broad. And with that, I feel like I can use that to help recruit people who haven't been in SGA. Because we have heard SGA hasn't been doing as great as it could do. We all see the potential, and that's why we're all running, trying to make something of it. And we see that potential, and we're not achieving it because the same people are running for SGA. So I hope with my involvements and my connections, I can reach out, find new people who I see are active in other RSOs and get them passionate about SGA, which is kind of the umbrella of all RSOs. And I can encourage involvement throughout them. And one thing I like to hit on is the unicameral system. Clearly, that's a big thing going on. Everyone's talking about that in the SGA circuit, I guess. And I'm kind of concerned about it because I don't want the students to lose their voice in the House. I'm opposing the current unicameral system, but I am open to compromise because I feel the idea behind it is to get legislature to pass through quicker and more efficiently and make people actually get to work. But it's not working in the current system, but I feel like it'll work even less in the unicameral bill that's proposed now. Hopefully we can kind of mold the two ideas together and find something creative through it.
That's about it.
What do you think about the Academic Senate's motion of our vote of no confidence on President Ross and Provost Shapiro?
I think it was definitely a confident move on the SGA's part. I'm really not sure too much if I'm in support or not about President Ross and things like that. I'm kind of in debate about that a lot, and I like to discuss things and figure things out to be sure before I'm ever making my ground on a point.
Spencer. You both mentioned that you're RAs. Do you plan on continuing that next year? And if so, I'm under the understanding that being an RA takes up a lot of your time and a lot of your dedication. So how would you manage both?
Well, first of all, I'm not going to be an RA, and as you heard, I do have a ton of involvements. I am dropping a lot of them next year because I am more concerned about SGA and I'm worried about that. So next year I will not be an RA.
And also, I'm a very involved person. I'm dropping a lot of my involvements because I want to be able to focus on the things I'm really passionate about my senior year and my final year, I guess. So getting this, I believe you cannot be an RA and an SGA president, vice president. So I'd be dropping that as well. I guess that's for the future.
Spence.
Having mentioned you've cited numerous problems within SGA, you've never held a position within SGA, either of you. Nor do I know that you understand what the job of president or vice president is, since I've had no contact. What would your primary goals be as president and vice president?
Well, first of all, I did have someone in contact with you trying to get a meeting for about a month now, but it didn't end up happening. Other than that, the primary goals would be to basically represent the students in a real way, finally. Take into the consideration of everyone we do know and people that with the connections we do have, and bring in something new, because I think SGA can do a lot more than it is. And while I haven't held a position, I think that's actually one of my strengths, because I've held positions in other RSOs. I've learned how other things work, as well as Scott, and we've seen good elsewhere, and we're going to bring it in and try to make SGA better than it is. Yes?
Like 5 seconds. There are at least 9 of us in this room right now that are currently that hold econs positions, and our office hours are posted on the door. How come neither of you have shown up at our office hours to express your concerns about the proposal one?
I have posted on Blackboard to Vince, and we've talked on Facebook about it too.
Alright, that's time.
Hello, my name is Spencer McKellar, and this is Sean Rossitano. We have many ideas for this upcoming year, and we strongly believe we can make a difference and represent the student body effectively. Some of my personal experience within SGA is that I've served as a senator, and this past year I am serving as the Senate leader. I've worked with leaders of SGA, both this current administration and the last. I know what works and what doesn't, so I know how to be an effective administrator. I've also held presidential positions in other organizations, both at the high school level and at the collegiate level. As for my running mate, he also has some experience in leadership positions.
Yes, I'm currently a freshman senator, and I am president of an RSO right now. I also have experience at the high school level in vice president and president positions, as well as being a Leader Advancement Scholar recipient. I have all these experiences that help push me into being in the position to be vice president for SGA.
Now we'll discuss a little bit of our platform. We have some big ideas that we think can change how SGA is viewed and how SGA represents the student body. First, we are also against the current proposal from changing the system and the structure of SGA from a bicameral system to a unicameral system. We see flaws in the legislative body, but we would be elected to the executive branch of SGA, and therefore we see it as the general student body or the House and Senate, which represents the power that the student body has to make that change within themselves. So we're leaving that up to them, and they can see what's not working and what's not. We can help them with that, but we see that it's their power, their decision to do that, since that's not our branch of the organization. And then another big issue we have is how SGA is perceived. We'd really like to see SGA institute a more apparent open door policy. And what we mean by this is that we would like to see more sources of input from students. We would like to see more SGA co-sponsored events like positive events. Historically, we co-sponsor Connections, which is a leadership conference here on campus. I know many Greeks go to that, and many different other leadership positions on campus go to that. And then we've also done Say Hey Week in the past, which is a way to boost positive morale within the student body. We would also like to see more technological avenues pursued. Maybe have all of the student body a part of our OrgSync account and part of our Blackboard shell. Now I say Blackboard shell, I know we're trying to move towards OrgSync, but Blackboard, for academic purposes, has every single student on there. That's why we think that'd be a great avenue. Then we'd also like to see a poll on every single person's Blackboard shell to gather data about what kind of events they'd like on campus and what kind of views they have on different aspects of the university. And then another big thing for me is communication within the organization. I've personally seen poor communication really bog down this organization, and I think with more of an open door policy, more of a friendly atmosphere, we can really encourage effectiveness and efficiency throughout the organization. And then we also agree with continued sustainability efforts here on campus. We agree that universities are microcosms for what society will emulate in the future. Therefore, if we can continue our construction goals, which lead to LEED certifications, means we show leadership in energy and environmental design. Okay.
Questions?
So there are 5 different tickets. What makes your ticket stick out over the other 4?
You know, I personally have experience within SGA, and I know that makes me stand out over a couple of the other candidates. I also agree with some of the other platforms that are out there, but so far we're the only 2 that have actually presented ideas. We have feasible options to use to make our platforms work. And I don't know about the last candidates. I'm assuming that they also have these great ideas. But I think that just because we showed feasible ways of doing what we want to do makes us stand out over everybody else. Yes, Vince?
As you know, Spencer, the vice president is mainly internal to our organization. He or she deals with all the inner workings of the organization. Having said that, I know Sean is a senator now, but how do you plan to understand the vice president's position?
Well, yeah, reading the Constitution, it's very clear that the vice president is the internal thing. And since we are having problems right now, or concerns with how everything is ran internally with both bodies of legislation, you know, the fact that I don't know exactly what the vice president does on a day-to-day basis, but I have the overall idea. I can probably come in with new ideas and help make the legislative bodies be more effective, since that is ultimately what we want to do.
Sean and I have also talked for extended periods of time about what would have to happen and what kind of things I expect of him if we're elected to this position. He has a workload in front of him, and he knows it. Yes.
Are you worried it's going to put a lot of pressure on you as a president, trying to teach someone inexperienced vice president his role within SGA?
I think it does place a little bit more pressure, but due to the fact that we've already started talking about what needs to be done, I think we've already made enough progress that it won't be that big of an issue.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Justin Gronsky and I'd like to introduce my running mate, Anna Dvorak. First, we want to thank you for the opportunity to be here. This is a critical time for the Student Government Association. In the wake of a renewed administration with the first truly effective year SGA has had in a long time, it is paramount that the following administration can continue to rejuvenate the Student Government Association and increase its relevance on campus. Anna and I are those leaders who can continue this legacy. I am running as your president. Through Spectrum and the Diversity Committee, I have represented those minorities on campus that do not have a voice. I have advocated for better academics and a change in the pedagogy on campus through the Teaching and Learning Collective and Speak Up, Speak Out. I have served the students of CMU at an on-campus job, and I will continue to serve your interests as your student body president. Anna Dvorak is running as your vice president. Anna has experience in all facets of the Student Government Association. Anna has House experience as a proxy when she first began at CMU. As a senator, interim Senate leader, and Senate pro tem, she has seen how SGA works on all levels and how to effectively manage SGA as a whole. As parliamentarian, Anna knows all the procedures for meetings, so everything runs as smoothly as possible. As vice president, Anna will need to run the internal affairs in the Student Government Association, and no other candidate has the experience to do that as effectively as her. As your president and vice president, we have a number of initiatives we will work on to improve campus life for every student. First, we will work with faculty and administration on adopting the use of the technology available to us. We will make it so all faculty members will use Blackboard effectively to make students' lives easier. We will work on peer mentoring programs on campus in order to facilitate the transition from high school to college life, to increase the retention of students, and to prevent others from being left behind. We will work to get grade distributions online through iCentral. We will continue to work on increasing the variety and quality of food available in the dining halls, and so vegan, vegetarian, or those students with allergies are being better accommodated. We will continue to make SGA relevant through RSO outreach and community projects. We will work to make college more affordable and available. To do this, we will work on reducing the cost per hour for internships. We will work to make online audits available to those who wish to use them, as well as online major and minor assignments. We will strengthen the academics at CMU by meeting with the Provost and Academic Senate to push for innovative and new forms of teaching. We will work to increase the sustainability of campus by forming a new sustainability committee. We will cut the cost of SGA and circulate that money back to RSOs. In order to do this, we will cut and combine e-council positions. If the unicameral system passes in the general election, we will reevaluate and restructure all of e-council so it is more effective. Finally, regardless of whether or not the unicameral system passes on the ballot, Anna and I are the best candidates to facilitate the transition to a new system, or to implement changes to make the current bicameral system more effective. If you're looking for the most committed, the most well-rounded, the most passionate representatives, then you should vote Justin and Anna for student body president and vice president. I'd like to open up for questions. Yeah, okay.
There are 4 other tickets in the room. What makes your ticket stick out over the other 4?
Yeah, here, I'm going to say a little bit and then you can go. Okay. Cool. I really just want to touch on the fact that We're very well-rounded. We have a ton of experience within SGA, outside of SGA. Anna knows intricately what goes on within the Student Government Association. I have experience working in SGA, in different organizations on campus, as well as working within the Mount Pleasant community. What do you got today?
Okay, I'm from Alma, so Mount Pleasant runs in my blood. I'm the daughter of an alumnus. This university is me. I am this university. I grew up taking swim lessons here. I grew up watching this university grow, being able to see the EHS building built, seeing Isabella built up into what it is today. This university is just, it's everything to me.
It's near and dear to both our hearts. Absolutely.
I couldn't have chosen a better place to get my degree.
More questions? Dennis?
I think something I just want to say in general that I'd like to add is this ticket touches on continuing different projects that are worked on, that have been worked on throughout SGA for the past year throughout my administration. And I think that's something you all need to be concerned with, is the continuation of projects through SGA.
Yeah, Colin?
Yeah, I think continuity in general is important, and I appreciate you saying that you have the capability to transition a unicameral system in the event that it is passed, rather than perhaps banking on it not passing. So, appreciate that.
Thank you.
That's nice. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
That concludes our elections press conference. Again, all of our election documents can be found on https://vote.cmish.edu. If you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. My name is Christopher Meligus, the elections director. Thank you all, and I'm looking forward to an exciting election year.